If you made a mistake in that ballot and you lived in Philadelphia or in Pittsburgh, you were allowed to fix the mistake. But if you lived in what would be considered more Republican or Trump parts of the state, you were given no such right.
It's unbelievable. What's good for one should be good for the other. That's the bottom line. That's at the heart of this case. That, of course, is President Trump's attorney, Mayor Rudy Giuliani, calling out the double standard in Pennsylvania, allowing absentee voters in Democratic counties a chance to cure, meaning fix, any defects or mistakes in their ballots. But voters in Republican counties never got the chance to fix their mistakes. Those counties followed the law, while Democratic counties are now accused of breaking it. And speaking of breaking, we have some breaking news out of Georgia. Georgia now has officially completed its recount, and it says nothing's changed. Well, it's no surprise, because I think they just recounted all the fraudulent ballots. I want to bring in now Republican Congressman, a good friend of this program, Jody Hice of Georgia. Congressman, it is good to see you. Are you surprised by the decision of Georgia or the outcome of this sham of a recount, in my opinion?
Not surprised at all. In fact, you'll recall I was one of the first to come on. In fact, your network right here saying when this recount was underway, it's a joke. It's a hoax. It's not going to accomplish anything, because in the first place, they only had one observer for every 10 tables that were counting ballots. And also, they were not getting into one of the big heart of the issue here, and that being the signature verification. We still have to verify these signatures to know what is authentic and what's not, what is valid and what's not. All of us want every legal vote to count and every illegal vote not to count. Those type of issues were not dealt with here. We simply just had a rehashing of the same numbers that we got the first time.
Congressman, my fear is we're never going to get a chance to look at these ballots for real and see if those signatures are real. Is there anything that Republican lawmakers can do right now in Georgia to make sure this happens?
Well, I know the Trump legal team is going to be dropping their lawsuit on Georgia tomorrow, and hopefully that will start the process. Look, the issue here is free and fair elections. If that is ever lost in the United States, then all of us are in trouble. None of us have a voice in the ballot box ever again if we lose the integrity of our election system. And in this case, and quite frankly, even the recount itself has revealed that there are indeed deep troublesome problems within the election that took place in Georgia. Well, we need to dive into that and look more carefully into those problems and try to expose them. And part of that is having access to the ballots, and in particular, the absentee ballots, 1.3 million of them, the numbers of which we have never, ever even come close to having in Georgia. And yet that is where we had signature invalidations that were not protected. Only 0.3% of the absentee ballots were thrown out due to invalid signatures. The national average is 3 to 5%. That alone amounts to over 40,000 votes, which makes the difference in this election. We have multiple problems. We must get to the ballots and get to the bottom of the potential problems that were involved in this election.
I always say, the numbers do not lie. The statistical, call them irregularities. They're worse than irregularities. They're sham numbers. They don't add up, and somebody's got to get to the bottom of it. And we've got another problem now, Congressman. You represent us from a federal level. Rudy Giuliani raised an allegation that I raised some evidence of that votes are being counted overseas. We had evidence of a server, Dominion Voting Services was being used in Germany. Is there anything from a federal level we can do to say, hey, when you have elections in the United States, we want those votes counted in the United States?
Yeah, that needs to be done on the state level as well. I mean, ultimately, states right now are responsible for the counting of their election system or whatever system they have in their states. And I don't think any state should allow those ballots to be counted overseas. Why would we do that? You talk about, we just went through years of an impeachment over a hoax, Russian collusion nonsense, and now we indeed have foreign countries potentially interfering with our elections. Why would we tolerate that?
Well, you know the answer to that question, sadly, Congressman, and I know that you'll be helping get to the bottom of it, and we're not going to give up on this. No matter what happens here, we're not giving up on this because something is fishy, and it does not look good. Congressman Jody Hice, again, we appreciate you coming on the program today.